Well, number one, they need to change their mindset. We live in this world, and you mentioned demoralization.
Yes.
Demoralization happens when we focus on deficiencies. And I'm going to explain what I mean. Like, if you're living in a world like we've got to do this because we're losing this, we don't do this, we're not going to have enough of this. It's deficiency minded. I believe we live in a world of abundance. We just hadn't figured out how to do it yet.
Yeah.
That's why I sort of wear these things on my wrist that says hope dealer,
Right.
because we need to live with a style and mindset of hope and begin to take inventory of what we can do in our own life to do it better. And that means physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, and financially. If we don't do that very premise, Mel, right there, we're already lost because we're going to be led around like sheep going to our slaughter. Couldn't agree more. I had a thought just today as I was preparing for our time together, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if the government would go to the 501c3 nonprofit and every taxable thing we pay up there, we get a tax break, and they don't make an income unless they can balance the budget.
Right.
The government needs to work for us. We don't need to work for them. And just as evidence, this own election, of course, we're voting for freedom. I get that. The polar opposite sides of the pendulum here with the candidates.
Right.
However, look at the gargantuan amount of waste of money on both sides from taxpayers. It's making this thing called politics in Washington more powerful. It's actually defeating the purpose. It's requiring more money, more millions, almost billions of dollars to get elected to that office, those offices up there in Washington. So those people can become more and more millionaires and trillionaires, et cetera, not working the damn day in their life. I'm starting to get animated about that.
No, I
The
get
bottom
it.
line is they work 6 months out of the year, the rest of the time just driving around in planes. Come on, man. That is not life. That's not about the people. Those people need to give money back to us, the people, so it can become we the people again. And I'm tired of that, Mel. I think we need to begin to restructure our mindset. And, as you know, I ran for office, but the mindset here is to find people in leadership that will give back to the people instead of take from the people. Well, it's interesting. You mentioned something very key, the power. And I just want to remind people of this principle. Leaders don't take and acquire power. Leaders give away power. Right. And I hope people caught that, because leaders give power away. When I'm dealing with somebody in health, like you and Rob, for example, and I just so appreciate and honor that, I'm trying to empower you to have a better life, better than it ever was before, so that you'll empower somebody else and somebody else. It's about being a leader is giving, not taking. I don't see, you mentioned something very key, the lobbyists. One of the most powerful lobbying groups is Big Pharma. Big Pharma lobbies those politicians. And folks, if you want to know who takes money from Big Pharma, all you have to do is look at the ethics report, because they do report most of that. Some of the people that are out there in the Washington investigating Big Pharma take money from pharma. That doesn't make sense to me. And I go, you guys aren't heroes, you're cons. Yeah. They're playing a game to make people think they're these tough guys, but they're really not. They're playing a big old con job. And so I'm one to say, folks, listen, live independently as per our independence of the government. Find a way to exist without them having to pay your damn bills. The government paying your bills, and even this health thing, if we're waiting on somebody to do something, I'm telling you what's going to happen. They're going to go up there and pitch this idea of lowering drug prices. They're going to pitch that. And I'm talking when President Trump gets elected, and I believe he will, they're going to pitch lowering drug prices. And even the DNC is going to pitch lowering drug prices. We're going to make things more affordable. That's not helping anybody, man. We need to teach people to fish, teach them to work, teach them to hunt, teach them to plant, garden, teach them to live, man, and exercise, and not need them, but appreciate the freedoms we have to do that. Yeah, one of the things that social media has done, Mel, is it's sort of castrated communication. If 90% of communication is nonverbal, and then you take the 10% of verbal away, well, you've got zero, as far as I can tell, because you can't see anybody, touch anybody, talk to anybody. And how many disagreements today are blossoming from a lack of clarity with text messages, emails, social media posts?
Totally.
It's so bad. And the greatest part of our country is not agreeing with each other. And that's awesome. because you can sit down with someone or have a conversation, or even with technology, you can have a Zoom with them. Believe it or not, it's cool. And you can say, you know what? I want to hear your side of the story. Have a civil conversation, even if it's different.
Right.
That's okay. You
Yeah.
can learn something from somebody else. And that's called communication. And we've lost that. And now it's just a bunch of nonsensical insults. And from a clinician standpoint, Mel, when we don't have communication and closeness, we lose this neurohormone called oxytocin, which gives us joy.
Right.
We lose peace. And when you get isolated like that, you get dominated. And that's exactly what's happening. And I've encouraged people to, you know, you can trade your punches, if you will, on social media. But if you have a friend and they're really somebody you care about, pick up the phone,
Right.
call them, speak with them, because relationships, Mel, we need them. You know,
Yeah.
I treasure the relationship I have with you and Rob.
Me too.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So the phone, and I've got my phone here because I was just texting you guys. So here's my phone. This phone emits from the screen at 5,500 Kelvin, which is 2,000 Kelvin degrees hotter than the noonday sun. So people keep that in mind. So
Right.
at night, when the sun goes down, we're supposed to get this early onset melatonin uptake. So melatonin's supposed to go up. But when we go like this and stare at it, that melatonin goes down because cortisol comes in.
Right.
They did a fascinating study along these lines that people that were sleeping, they took a phone and ran it over the side of their arm. Didn't touch their arm, didn't touch them, but they just ran it over so their arm could sense the heat. And the skin, wouldn't you know, is an organ system that has these sensors around. Their sleep was disrupted, Mel. Disruption of sleep creates something called sleep debt. 1 day of sleep debt requires 5 days of sleep equity to make it up. Sleep debt creates too much cortisol, which creates belly fat, which creates inflammation, which creates the lack of cleansing of the brain, this lymphatic drainage system. So we begin to think not as intelligible, and we can't critically think as well. Yeah, that we are one of 2 countries in the world, us and New Zealand, as last I checked, that allow Big Pharma to advertise on network TV.
We
And
should
it's
not
done
allow it.
because the politicians are lobbied by Big Pharma, all of them. They really are, all of them, even the
So
ones that weren't
crazy.
elected. My God, I mean,
Right.
I actually had a conversation with one U.S. senator who I am a friend of. And I said to him, I said, sir, and I'm going to leave his name out, obviously. I said, I will pay you. You name a sum of money if I can come up with it. If you will just create a bill that says Big Pharma cannot
That'd be great.
advertise to the public any longer in this country. And I said, I realize it's never going to get heard. I realize it's never going to get voted on. But all I'm asking you is to do it, sign your name to it, see who else you can get to co-author it with you, if no one, and make it public.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I said, I will pay you. And I couldn't get a taker on that one. You
No
know,
way.
what happens is these networks, and you and I have been in the entertainment business, they require big money to it's sponsorship's what it is.
Right.
And so, and I actually heard something the other day. I'm going to make a bold prediction here that I haven't made on any show yet. I was listening with my wife to a commercial, and it was a commercial on PPIs, or a proton pump inhibitors, gastric reflux kind of medication.
Okay.
And in the commercial, for the first time in my life, I heard these words: patients were healed in 6 weeks. And I was like, what? What? Healed? Healed? You don't hear that word. That's a Christian term. You know, what are we doing? And then I heard it again. Patients were healed. They said it 3 times, that word healed. Healed means completely resolved and eradicated completely. That's not healed. That's managed.
Right.
So you're going to see these terms confused.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to go that direction so that eventually Big Pharma becomes the healer.
Healer.
Yeah, you're going to see this. This is a play on words, and people need to be ready for that. Well, both of them have a complete spectrum of B vitamins. Now, this is different than mainstream B vitamins because a lot of the B vitamins out there will contain like synthetic forms, such as synthetic folate, folic acid, or even cyanocobalamin, which is, it sounds like cyanide. It is, right? Yeah. And so this one has methylated B vitamins, which are in a form that can be assimilated. both of those products have electrolytes, which are the things that sort of drive the heart function. Both of those products have something called ATP, which is actually the energy production molecule. How about
Wow.
that?
How
And then
cool.
both of them have a little proprietary blend that we came up with that produces in totality 95 milligrams of caffeine. This caffeine is not going to be something that's going to stimulate your body, it's going to stimulate your mind. In other
Wow.
words, it makes your
Okay.
mind kind of light up again. And Kingdom Energy Extreme has 3 grams of creatine added to it, which can help with muscle explosion, muscle size, and muscle power.
Oh, great.
Um, there's no better
There's not.
pre-workout or energy drinks on the market out there like those. And further, there are people that die every year from having too many energy drinks from
I know.
cardiac failure because of, raising the blood pressure too much, etc. Yeah, it's called Kingdom Crunch. It's got the texture of like those old Captain Crunch little
Yeah. It's great.
balls, the crunchy balls that we used to have. I did a test market, a beta test with this, and 100% of the people thought it was outstanding. To put it in perspective, it comes in 2 flavors: peanut butter, and the peanut butter has, get this, 11 grams of protein,
Oh, wow.
11 grams of carbohydrates, 0 sugars, organic ingredients like turmeric, kale, and spinach. How about that? And from the
Wowee. You would
fat
never
side,
know.
I know it's got 6 grams of fat from medium chain triglycerides, which are outstanding for energy. And these are sweetened with monk fruit, stevia, and allulose, which will not raise blood sugar.
Wow.
The other flavor is acai bowl. It has more of a fruity flavor. It's got 9 grams of protein, 12 grams of carbohydrates, because it's got extra organic blueberries, go figure,
Oh,
and
wow.
also 6 grams of medium chain triglycerides in the fats. Male, I pretty much have it every day.
Yeah.
Couple little things I've done with it. I've combined it with Kingdom Fuel, like 1 scoop of that. I put it in some organic plain yogurt.
Oh, wow. Good
Mixing that
idea.
together is just
Love it.
outstanding. But yeah, everybody needs this. This is something we put a lot of effort in, and I'm really proud of it. But I'll
Yeah.
even be more happy when people's lives start changing out there
Yeah.
because of it. Yeah, you can't drink it now. It's not fit. Fluoride is a neurotoxin.
Right.
Microplastics now are ubiquitous, meaning they're everywhere. They're finding those in umbilical cord fluid right now. It's just
God.
sad. Most filtered water that's filtered from our city waters, they don't get all the pharmaceutical products out of there. So as much as there's birth control, that's
There's
still floating
water
around
there.
our water, there is statin drugs floating around water. This goes right back into the feminization of our world. And we're seeing that before our eyes. It's not just a spiritually confusing issue, it's also a chemical issue.
Yeah.
I think everybody should have a water filtration system without question. There's a lot of companies out here which will come to your house and they'll test it for free. And I've told people before, and I believe this, Mel, if you're going to be in a home for more than 5 years at this
Right.
point in time and you own that home, it is worth the investment to put a home filtration system on because it's going to increase in value.
Right.
Because of people like you bringing this subject matter to the forefront, it's going to increase incredible awareness and also value because people are going to get it. And then personally, I like to add hydrogen to the water
Yeah.
because as I carry hydrogen in my body from good water, the hydrogen goes into the cells and will eliminate all excessive free radicals and cellular inflammation because of its molecular size. So,
Right.
there's a lot of things you can do. We got to have water. We're 65% water at least in our bodies. We have to have it to survive. But if we don't have good water, it will kill
Right.
us. Well, you mentioned a very key common sense principle. People should be aware is the best way to help somebody is to have a relationship with them because you know more
Exactly.
about them, right? We're
Yeah.
going to see medicine, and this is true. You're going to see it going to more of an AI technology where biorhythms are going to be read by a computer, by artificial intelligence, and you're going to see less interaction with humans. You're going to see less interaction with prescription drugs, et cetera. And that's happening already, and it takes the critical thinking out of it and it takes the relationship completely out of it. We have a seminar once a month, the first Tuesday of every month at 6:30, and it's free. And people, that's a pretty dumb business model. But I don't think so because I want people to hear us speak, know where we come from, and have the opportunity to ask questions.
Yes.
And we don't talk real long. We talk about 25 or 30 minutes, and then we allow people about 15 minutes to ask questions in a virtual chat. And it's us answering them. It's not a computer. And I don't want
Exactly.
people paying any money until they understand who they are. And if they want that kind of relationship, that kind of care, a partner to get into their health with them, My wife and I will do it.
Yeah.
We are honored to help people. We're called to help people, and make no bones about it. People that work with us get better, not because we're good, but because we've been called to do this, and they just kind of plugged into a sort of a power source, if you will. Yeah, I think of the crazy embrace the possibilities.
Yeah.
Where people don't see the possibilities, we need to be the people that see the possibilities. I don't think this is the worst time that we've ever had. I think it's the best time we ever had. And I base it on history. You go back and look at where we were 200 years ago,
Yeah.
right? The British trying
Yeah.
to rule over everybody. And there was a few people that said, no, I don't think so. They tried to negotiate, didn't work out. They decided to declare their independence. Well, what a courageous thing to do.
Yeah.
That could have been looked at as a bad time, but it turned out to be the best time. We're
There you
living the
go.
best time now, and I think we have to really embrace that possibility. And I just encourage people to step up, speak up, and do what they can do individually, starting with the person in the mirror,
Yeah.
and then working outward through your family.
Exactly.